The truth is, adding value will never go out of style. Hello, this is Brian Smith. Thanks for joining us for another Five Things podcast. Today we've got a great guest, Carrie Haub, who's self-employed but has a charitable organization that's how we met. And thanks for joining us, Carrie.
Thanks for having me.
And basically tell us a little bit about, obviously this is how we met, getting involved with the charity this year and the gala and some different things. You and I have mutual friends, Nate and Heather Forshee, great people. So kind of got introduced to you and the organization, started figuring out, what a great cause it is. So we're excited to be part of it. I watch security and Brain Descent Media looking to do something as well. But other than that, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to this point.
Yeah, I have been a part of the Friends of Wake County Guardian Ad Litem program for about the past 6 years, I'd say. I was introduced by my dear friend Babs Wagner, who's actually the founder of the organization, which was founded back in 1991.
Okay.
Basically, the organization was founded to fill in the gaps in the system, in the foster care system, needs that were not being met through county and state funding. So we do a little bit of everything. We try to figure out what those needs are from the social workers, from the guardian ad litems, who are court-appointed advocates. They volunteer, they're trained, but they're volunteers who basically represent a child in an abuse or a neglect case in court. So we work with them to determine the needs of the children. If there are needs that have not been met, then they come to us and fill out a grant request. And what we do as part of our organization, we fundraise, raise money, raise awareness in the community so that we can make sure that those needs are fulfilled and the children don't go without.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you've obviously been with the organization a while, so very familiar with it. Where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from upstate New York.
Okay.
Yeah. Lived kind of all over the East Coast, moved to California, was out there for about 14 years.
Okay. Where at in California?
Central Coast.
Okay.
Well, LA first and then Central Coast, San Luis Obispo County, and loved it.
Okay. Reason why I ask, I was born there originally.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Went to high school in San Bernardino, one of my 3 high schools I went to. So New York to California.
Yep. Yeah.
And then what brought you to North Carolina?
My husband got relocated, changed jobs, and all of our family was on the East Coast. So he had family in Miami, New York, New Jersey, and my family as well throughout the DC area and around. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So you end up in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's been how long now?
7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
It goes by quick, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
I was just telling Mustafa that, obviously I got a birthday this week and with the birthday party and stuff, but 45, and he was asking me, because how old are you, Mustafa? 26. So, it's that old, when you hear people talking about, it goes by so quick, it does.
It does,
And I think the older you get, the busier you get, especially when, like you got family, you got the career, you got your friends. So it's the years go by quick.
They do. My son and daughter were in first and third grade when we moved here, and now he's a junior and my daughter's freshman in high school. So
it's crazy, right?
It's flown by, yeah.
It's it's unbelievable how quick they go from you're changing that horrible diaper, to they're driving the car.
Yeah.
It does go by quick. So how did you ultimately end up when you move here to Raleigh and you end up getting involved in the organization?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
I was actually working for a company in Raleigh, an events company, and we were looking to partner and do some work for a children's organization, a nonprofit. So it was kind of my job to reach out and in the community kind of research and find an organization that needed support. And that's how I got involved with the Friends. When I met Babs Wagner, she was the president of the organization at the time, and we became fast friends.
Okay.
And that led me to kind of continuing my volunteer efforts with the group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, let me ask you this: what's obviously you've got some experience in the organization. When it comes to the children that are helped, what's one of the biggest things that sticks out to you when you look back over your time with the organization? What's the biggest like feel good thing you think about with your experience?
There are so many.
And I told you I was going to hit you randomly with a bunch of stuff.
I know. Every time we get a request, we really, as a board, we look at the request and we see, first we ask, is this a need that can be fulfilled through another channel? Because we are asking the community for donations. We're doing these fundraisers. The money that they give, we are responsible for making sure
you want to be good stewards.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you get a request that comes through from a child that broke their eyeglasses on the playground, and
There's just no money to fix
there's
them.
no money to fix them. They're only allotted one per year through insurance, and they can't see. They can't see the chalkboard, while they're in school. That's something that's very fulfilling to us. That's a critical need, an immediate need that we can provide for that child that otherwise doesn't have the resources to get.
It's such a small thing.
It is.
But it's such an enormous thing.
It really is.
I ended up getting readers a couple of years ago. And I'm out of business without these things.
Yeah.
Business comes to a halt. Everything's blurry. So I can't imagine being a kid. You're trying to learn, and
that's right.
The foster parents might not have the money, or there's just no resource there to a lot of times these folks are, make the light bill or buy new glasses, so that's a big deal.
It is. And another one that pops out is we also work, some people may not be familiar with the term kinship care. But kinship care is basically when there's an abuse or neglect case and the child is brought into the foster care system, they could be placed into kinship care, which is when a relative, a family member may take that child or a group of siblings into their home so that they don't enter the foster care system and go to live, with someone that they don't know. And oftentimes, very often, it may be a grandmother and aunt, and they may be, unemployed or under hardship themselves, and unable to provide the necessary things for those children. We had a request for a grandmother who took in 3 siblings. And, she lived in a 1-bedroom apartment and, needed a crib. Right. She had the baby at the time sleeping in a dresser drawer. She put blankets and was sleeping in a dresser drawer. And she didn't want the siblings would have been all removed and taken into different homes. And they wanted to keep the children together. Wow. And with a relative. And that was the only way they could do it.
Sure.
And so we provided a crib.
That's awesome.
For the baby, and some bedding and clothes and shoes, so they could get by.
And again, it's such a little thing, but it's such a huge thing, because you have someone who is willing to care for that child and take that huge responsibility. Yeah. My kids are all 21 plus, and I don't even want a pet right now because of the responsibility. But when you find people that are willing to take on that care, what a great organization to be able to help those people, get by. And, get by at a decent level at least.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And ultimately, I personally believe that as a business owner, the way I look at it, and I'm not judging anybody else, but the way I look at it is I want to give back to the community that we serve. If we're able to create a successful business and jobs and this and that and, create profit, I believe some of that profit should go back to the community that you're gaining from.
That's right.
And with so many charities out there, the thing that is great with kids is you're impacting the entire, the next 40 generations. You're literally impacting eternity, depending upon what those kids do. That's so right. Them being brought up in a decent household and having those resources and the tutorings, some of the other stuff we're going to talk about, that's what, giving can be selfish sometimes, because that, man, this money that you're donating to this cause may be causing positive ripple effects for the next 1,000 years. You just never know.
Yeah.
So with so many charities to choose from, I always thought a kids organization geared towards kids, such a positive thing.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the toughest thing about what you do? Obviously, raising capital, you're asking companies and people to just give money that they worked hard for. That would be the first thing that comes to mind. Being in sales all my life, we provide service for capital, but just saying like, hey, we need cash to run this thing.
I think you hit it on the head. That's definitely one of the biggest challenges that we've faced as an organization. There are so many great charitable organizations out there doing great things.
Sure.
And it's really building awareness in the community that there is a need. We're a fairly wealthy county. And I think people are surprised by the number of foster children that enter foster care in Wake County. It's 700 children on average in Wake County, just in our county. There's over 10,000 in the state of North Carolina. So there is such a need, and it's just getting that message out there that these children that your children are sitting next to in school, are struggling, and while we're a wealthy county, the public schools, there could be children that are in the foster care system that are struggling, that are staying with someone they don't know, that have been removed from their families, removed from their siblings, and are sitting next to your child and need help.
Right.
So.
And for all the complaining about tax code and taxes and all that sort of stuff, one of the great things that I love about, I don't know if you want to say the U.S. or our tax code or what have you, is that they allow you to write this off in your taxes. So what a great country that actually incentivizes you giving.
Yes.
So I think that's a really powerful thing to be grateful for, is that it actually kind of benefits you to give and serve others. So I think that's pretty awesome. So just a few events that we're gearing up towards. The gala's the 21st.
It is.
And we'll circle back around on that in a second, where we've got an awesome, keynote speaker.
Yeah.
Got an awesome DJ volunteering his time very graciously. And just a couple of events that part of me getting involved this year that I want to certainly promote is September 14th. It's a birthday party / bring your bottles party. It's ideally, dress up in 60s, 70s, or 80s gear. We're going to have fun.
Yeah.
There's going to be some live music. There's going to be plenty of music, bartenders, full bar. The only thing we're asking is that you bring a bottle or two of wine. And that's because one of my responsibilities with the charity this year is we're coming up with a minimum 100 bottles of wine for the wine pull.
It was very popular last year. So.
Listen, you can't go wrong with wine.
No,
you just can't go wrong. So ultimately, we're going to have probably about 4 really nice bottles of wine that I'm still working on. Some people donating. I think I got 2 of them covered right now. But the ultimately Camus or Silver Oak, or some really good bottles of wine. So it's fun, for whatever we determine. I think it's going to be $20-$25 a wine pull, something like that is my guess. But you have a chance to win a $150 or $250 bottle of wine that are most likely going to be donated by a gracious company. But it's fun, and the goal is 100 bottles minimum, and then the 4 bottles on top of that. So that'll, let's say it's $20 a pop or $25 a pop. That's $2,500 straight into the organization. From these events. So September 14th, my birthday's the 15th, my buddy Sean's the 13th, so it was a perfect opportunity to throw a party, generate some bottles of wine. And then October 19th, doing a big Halloween party, same deal. We're gonna have bartenders and all that sort of stuff, but trying to raise these bottles, I'd love to get over 100, get 125, 150. Because one thing I've learned is wine is a good thing for the most part. And then gearing up to the gala, and I'll let you take that over, which is November 21st.
Yep.
Starting at 6 p.m. So I'll let you go into that kind of?
So this is our second Light the Way Gala. It's on November 21st from 6 to 10 p.m. It's at 1705 East Venue by Rocky Top Catering Company. And we're just super excited. We did it last year. It was a huge success. It was our first year holding a gala, and we raised over $50,000 that
awesome.
evening. Yes. And all of that money goes towards these special needs grants and the requests that we get from the social workers in the Guardian Ad Litem office. We all are volunteers for this organization. There's not a penny spent on us. So we were really excited to do so well last year and to bring out the community and just have a great time. It was just a really fun evening. We're going to be having the Biscuit Bar is definitely coming back. That was hugely popular last year, so we're going to be bringing the Biscuit Bar back.
So what is a Biscuit Bar?
A Biscuit Bar, it's the Southern Biscuit Bar, and with all the accompaniments that biscuits should have along with it. But I'm just amazing homemade jams and spreads, pimento cheese. There's Canadian bacon, just all kinds of sausages. It was a huge gravy.
I'm gonna have to Google here, see what wine goes with biscuits.
Oh, I'm sure all of them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna have some great food. There's all kinds of wonderful hors d'oeuvres, and we're kind of narrowing down the menu. And then we have our keynote speaker. Our guest speaker this year is Ashley Rhodes Corder. She is a former foster child herself. She was in 14 different foster homes before being adopted. Wow. Yeah, so she has an amazingly powerful story. She's written a few memoirs, one New York Times best-selling memoir, Three Little Words, kind of talking about her time in the foster care system and kind of rising above it and where she is now. And so we're super excited to have her join us this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Paul Fitz going to DJ the event,
yes.
which I'm excited about because he's a great DJ, fun guy as well. But so I guess to our 5 things topic, basically this is, of course, we'd love for you guys to join us at the gala. Of course, tickets will be available. Certainly contact me directly, or we'll have links anywhere I post this video. But ultimately, 5 things people need to know about the charity that they may not know, like 5 things.
So some of the programs that we have in place, like we talked about, filling in those needs. Tutoring is by far our largest program that we have. Okay. There's a huge need for these kids to kind of get back on track. Every time they enter a new home, they fall behind on average 1 letter grade. So after 4 new placements, they're failing.
Wow.
So it's critical that we keep them on track in school, because education, we all know, is so powerful, and sure. it really is critical to breaking the cycle and to having them move forward to a brighter future.
And tutoring's really expensive.
It is. Yeah. It is. We've partnered with Triangle Literacy Council, and we have a full-time tutor on staff to fulfill the needs, and they go out to the home and work with them, which is great because a lot of it is transportation. So
which is awesome, and I'm sure that's more cost effective.
Absolutely.
Making that commitment to that organization, and I'm sure that ultimately we get more value that way as well.
That's right.
So number 2.
Number 2, we have our special needs grants, as I kind of touched on a little bit with the eyeglasses, crib, bedding, shoes, whatever needs that might need to be filled that are not under educational. Our educational program would be covered under our special needs grants. May even be a prom dress, for a teen that wants to go to prom and otherwise wouldn't be able to. So there's a lot of different types of requests that come in through there. Then our other backpacks for kids and computers for kids, again, falling kind of under education. We do a big backpack drive starting in June to work on the year-round kids that are going back to school in July, and then continue that, making sure that these children have all the school supplies that they need. Starting out fresh, their first day of school, there's nothing I know Babs always told a story about a child that said their first, they went to school and they were so embarrassed because every time they, got into the classroom, they'd have to borrow a sheet of paper from a classmate or ask the teacher for a pencil or a pen, and how embarrassing that was.
Very, yeah.
And, and said to them, you gave me school supplies and I went to school and I actually wanted to learn, so as simple as something like that is, it can be very powerful for a child that is put in that situation. It's difficult enough to go into school and into a new school often enough because of all the placements and the new home, and that could mean a new school, new friends, new teachers, starting all over again. So it means a lot.
Yeah, and self-image is such a huge thing for a kid growing up, and there's enough bullying and immaturity and all that kind of stuff that goes on that you want to eliminate those type of things if you can, for sure. But that's definitely a great thing to do.
Yeah.
Number 3?
Our orthodontic program, which I'm super excited about. We've partnered with Bovenizer and Baker Orthodontics out of Carrie. There was a need for orthodontic services. Children, as you said, it's image is very powerful, and teens, there's a lot of peer pressure. They want to look their best, and you have a child that is, needs work, needs, and so they're donating their services up to 25 this year. So we're so excited about that. Just, giving these kids this wonderful smile that they can be proud of. So that's our newest program.
Well, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I can kind of speak to this personally that, growing up with primarily a single mom, I didn't have braces as a kid growing up. And so fortunately my teeth are not really exposed just by the structure of the unfortunate structure of my face. But, I had to pay for my own braces as an adult. And I can tell you that I was always growing up, I was aware, that I didn't want to give a full blast smile. Even though my teeth don't show that much, but some people aren't as fortunate that they have your teeth very exposed naturally. And so that could be a real thing to beat you up when you're growing up, for sure. Absolutely. So I think that's a great program, and that's by a specific organization, isn't it, doing that?
Yeah, it's Bovenizer and Baker Orthodontics.
Okay.
Yeah, that out of Carrie.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing.
Yeah.
And what are we on? I got a terrible memory.
I think we're on 5.
5, okay.
Guardian Angel Tree.
Okay.
That has they started that back in 1991, and that's continued to be such an important part of the organization, something that a lot of community members, businesses, corporations love to participate in. And it's around the holidays. We put together, we get a list from the social workers and the Guardian Ad Litem offices, and we have a very specific list for each child. They have needs, they have wants, all on those lists, down to their shoe sizes, their favorite color. And then we have, great community partners and companies that go out and they buy a child's wish list.
That's awesome.
For the holidays. And then we all pack them up, and we've had to rent dump trucks to put all the gifts in and make sure that they get to the kids in time for the holidays. Yeah,
well, that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
So, 5 great things to know about a great organization. And one of the things I love about it is so much of what's given goes directly to the kids.
Yes.
And organizations made up of a bunch of people that are volunteering their time. So, maybe if you're in a situation you want to positively impact the community, but you don't have lots of cash right now, or you're a small business and still trying to get the profits and the savings going for the buffer, because things do this in business. So ultimately you may not be able to donate money, but maybe you could donate some time.
That's right.
You run around and help do some shopping, help spend some successful companies' money that generously donate. So a lot of different ways you can contribute to the organization. And other than that, this was a really good, podcast, and I appreciate you coming and sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Carrie, and thanks for joining us, and look forward to next time. Hello, this is Brian Smith, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe for more valuable content.